Rookie mistake. Don't have anything set up. Apologies to everybody. Uh, let's just take that away. We'll just roll solo without an overlay. What a rookie mistake by me. Appreciate all you rocking with us. This is the Sunday morning start sit show. I'm going to be answering all your questions up until 12:30. So go ahead and start getting your questions in. I already have a bunch in the chat already. Appreciate all you for rocking with us. If it's your first time to the channel, please hit that like and that subscribe button. Much appreciated. Kicking things off with C Crip. Need to and start full PPR. Chase if limited, DK, James Conner, or Kirk. Leaning DK and Kirk right now. I have Chase in a couple spots. It's especially with T not playing, it's going to be hard to sit him. But at the same time, with the illness and everything, I don't know how much of that is legit, how much of that is tied into the contract things that are going on. Even before the illness pops up, even before that illness popped up, Chase said that he himself, he would expect to be limited. I don't know what any of that means. It's really hard, really hard to sit him week one, but I think I would, Crip. I think that's what I would do. I'd also lean DK and Kirk. Also, Crip, if you're still rocking with us, who are you starting at running back? Because I do really like this spot for James Conner as well. So curious who you have at RB, but I think I would sit Chase unless, right before kickoff we get we get any type of notification that he's now going to be like a full go, or he's expected to play, let's say 80+% of the snaps. In that situation, I would sit Kirk and rock with Chase and DK. Sushi, y'all helped me to a victory last season. Let's run it back. Absolutely. Got a question here from Sushi as well. Need to start 2 in a full PPR. Kirk, Stevenson, Allen, Ford, Lockett, Moss, or Palmer. Full PPR, we're locking in Christian Kirk. Like I said, I really like the spot that he is in this week going up against Miami. In that second spot, I'm in a full PPR. I'm probably going to go Palmer here. I'm not afraid of that Raiders defense. I think at the end of the last season, they were kind of playing above their head. Palmer's the only receiver there that has any type of rapport with Herbert. So I would, if in a full PPR, I would lean Palmer. If this were half, I think I would lean Moss just because of his touchdown upside in this matchup. But full PPR, let's get the receivers in there, and we're going to go Kirk and Palmer. Noel, is it worth picking up Fields for trade value? My QB is hurt, so I don't need Fields. I would have to drop Ray Davis, and my RB depth is pretty bad. No, just because I could see Tomlin just going right back to Russ, as soon as he's healthy. So unless you're in, and it doesn't seem like you're in a super flex league, I don't think Fields is going to have that type of trade value unless he goes out today and just completely smashes. I think the Steelers end up going back to Russ. Even whenever Russ was banged up with this calf injury in the offseason, they kept saying that Russ was going to be the starter. Like, it didn't really matter what Fields did or did not do. It seems like they at least want to give Russ that the beginning to they want to give him the chance to not be the starter. So I think as soon as he's healthy, he gets back on the field. So unless you're in some kind of crazy league where everyone just loves quarterbacks or something like that, I don't think Fields is going to have any trade value. And if you have bad RB depth, I would not want to drop Ray Davis. Ray Davis is one of my favorite bench stashes in terms of running backs. Really like him this year. Fields, Caleb, or Stafford in a 4-point pass TD league. In a 4-point, I'm going to go, man. I'm probably going to play it safe here for week one. And I'm going to go Stafford. I like the upside of Caleb, but I think this Titans defense is going to be better, a lot better than what most people are expecting. First start, can't remember where I heard this, but you have to go all the way back to David Carr Yes, that David Carr. If you're looking for a number one overall pick to win their opening game as a rookie. So I'm gonna lean Stafford here and just play it safe. Stafford or Burrow, again, I'm gonna play it safe just with the not knowing what's going on with Chase. T. Higgins being out. Now we're looking at Andre Yoshibas, Trenton Irwin, Jermaine Burton. I don't like that situation. I think we see a lot of Zach Moss in this game. Chase Brown mixing in as well. So I'm gonna go Stafford on this one for week 1. Another one here from Noel, Monty or Jamar / Yoshibas in a full PPR. I'm going to play it safe here. I'm going to go Monty. If Chase is limited, Yoshi should see a decent target share, but I'm going to lean Monty in that matchup. I'm not worried about the Rams front seven, especially without Aaron Donald. That game has a really high over under at 52. I think Monty finds the end zone. Not good at fantasy, rocking with us. Good to see you in here. Start any of Brown or Spears over Odunze in a PPR. Yeah, I'm gonna go Brown here for week 1. The Bears are. I think that Bears Titans game is going to have two defenses that I think are going to surprise a lot of people. I'm going to go Brown again, just because with what we've been talking about, seems like every single question so far with the Bengals pass catching situation. We saw Chase Brown pop off and show his explosiveness as a pass catcher last year. Maybe that's how they get the pass game going, is by getting Brown and Moss involved in the air. Brown more so than Zach Moss. So I would lean Brown, especially over Odunze. Again, game 1 for a rookie. We saw Shane Waldron run a lot of 2 wide receiver sets last year. That's why Jackson Smith and Jigba didn't make a huge splash over there outside of when a couple of those guys were injured. So I'm going to go Brown here over Odunze for sure. KD, happy week 1. TFA, happy week 1 to you. KD, good to see you in here as well. Need to pick a flex in a full PPR, Allen, Sutton, or Eckler. And I am going to go Sutton here in this one. Don't love the matchup going up against the Seattle secondary. That's another defense that I really like. But Sutton is going to be the clear one in that offense. Don't know what to expect with Eckler, Brian Robinson, Jaden Daniels, obviously more of a running quarterback. Not sure how often he's going to be dumping off to Eckler. Not sure exactly what to expect from Eckler in general, just in terms of how much he's going to see the field. Keenan Allen, talked about it already with Caleb Williams. Don't know what to expect there. Is it going to be Allen out there for 80% of the snaps in 2 wide receiver sets? Is it going to be closer to 50-50? I just don't know what to expect from that situation yet. With Sutton, we know that he is the clear, in a way, by far the best receiving option that they have. So even though the ceiling might not be super high in that matchup with another rookie quarterback, we do know that Sutton is going to be the focal point of that passing offense. Guy Ken rocking with us. Good to see you back as well. Nice to see all these familiar faces. Appreciate all of you for coming back. And like I said, for the new people here, please hit us with a like and a sub. We'll be here until 12:30 answering all of your start-sit questions, because I have some stuff to tinker with myself. Stevenson, Chase Brown, or Singletary in a PPR. I'm going to go Singletary here. He's going to be the lead back. Stevenson's going to be the lead back for the Patriots as well, but I don't love that matchup. I think they get behind, and then I don't know how effective Stevenson is going to be. Maybe we see a little bit of Antonio Gibson, but Singletary, not necessarily afraid of that matchup with going up against the Vikings. So I'm going to go Singletary here. I know Danny Dimes doesn't necessarily dump off to running backs, but after Singletary, there's not a ton to be concerned about, and I don't think that game script gets out of hand. Our guy Porter, Bengals defense today against the Pats. What are your thoughts? So I pick up another defense like Bucks, Falcons, or Bears? No, I would just roll with the Bengals this week. They're one of the better streaming options for sure. Joseph J. Rosa, TFA, happy football Sunday. Same to you. Is Tank Dell a good start today, or should I start Chris Godwin? So I think Tank Dell probably has the higher ceiling, but I would feel better about starting Godwin. I really like this matchup going up against a Washington secondary that just got torched all year last year. I know they've made some changes, bringing in guys like oh my god, the Panthers stuff just runs around and pops people. His name is escaping me right now, but they did lose Cam Curl. Chris Godwin is going to be running more of his routes from the slot this year, which I think is going to be a big bonus for him. So I'm going to go Godwin. That Houston situation, that's another one I'm really curious to see how the target share shakes out with Steph Diggs being added to the mix. So I would go Chris Godwin here for week 1. Chase is active. Cody, you still like Shakir? Yeah, I don't think you had Chase in any of your matchups, right? You were more talking about Yoshabaz. So I'm still going to go Shakir here over Yoshi. Big Truz rocking with us. Have both Tyreek and Waddle. Do I start Waddle if Tyreek isn't released in time? Looks like he's going to be. It's just how couldn't write that up better for week 1 fantasy football start sets with with Tyreek getting arrested like a block away from the stadium. But the Dolphins already put out a statement saying that he was like briefly detained. So I don't even know if he ended up going to the station or whatever. So he's going to be fine. Then for flex, if Tyreek is active, Godwin, DJ Moore, Waddle, Brown, or Mostert. I really like that game environment. You obviously drafted both Tyreek and Waddle, so I think I would just roll that out. Like I said, I do like Godwin. I do like DJ Moore this week, but I love the passing matchup for the Dolphins. So I would start both, but then I would hope that Waddle pops off, and then I would look to trade Waddle. Truz. What an absurd situation. I saw someone post that in our Discord, and I was just like, there's no way this is true. And indeed it was. Then for tight end, mine Conklin or Taysom Hill. Y'all said Taysom, but I need reasoning. I am going Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill here. We did talk about this in the Discord. I will drop the link into the chat for anyone who's interested in joining. Absolutely free, no strings attached, anything like that. With Taysom Hill, it's simple. They have been talking all offseason about getting him more involved and basically just thrusting themselves into the full Taysom Hill experience. We even saw it in the preseason. We saw him line up in the backfield. We saw him line up in the slot out wide. So I think he has more of a touchdown upside than Johnny Munt does. I understand that he's going to be running all of the routes here for them. We did see Johnny Munt have a couple of good games at the tail end of last season, I believe. But with the with the Saints and what they've been telling us and what they have shown us so far, I'm going to go in on Taysom Hill here. But trust, if you have a feeling about Munt and you want to rock with him, because I know you've been pretty steadfast in wanting to keep Munt around, go ahead, man. Like I said, he's going to be running all the routes. You had Jordan Addison coming off the injury. Jalen Naylor was banged up as well. So you're really only looking at Justin Jefferson. So Johnny Munt should see some targets, but I think the touchdown upside is higher with Taysom Hill. So that's why I'm going to roll there. Anime Chase is playing today. Yeah, looks like he's active. Looks like he is going to play. How much? I have no idea. I really don't know. If you have like a comparable wide receiver, just in terms of like not having the questions there, I might lean sitting him, but it's really hard to sit Chase week 1. So that's just going to be one of the things if you put him in your lineup, you're just crossing your fingers and hoping that he's out there for 70%. Because even if he's out there for 70% of the snaps with no T. Higgins, that should equate to enough targets that he doesn't, completely give you a goose egg and crush you for the week. HP rocking with us. Good to see you back in here. How's it going? It's going well. Hope you've been well. HP, need a tight end for PPR. Juwan Johnson, Ertz, or Conklin. Golly, man. Is Taysom Hill available? Actually, is Johnny Munt available? This is a situation where I would play Munt. Going back to that question over these guys, just, I have no idea what to expect from Ertz. Sanat looked good whenever he was given the opportunities, but it seems like they want to use him more as like a H-back, fullback type. Conklin, I have no idea what to expect there with with Garrett Wilson and everyone else that they have in that passing attack after him. So if Johnny Munt is available, I would go Munt over any of these options. If he's not available, probably just roll with Conklin and just hope for the touchdown. Feel like, with if Juwan Johnson had not been injured and missed a bunch of that time during the offseason, I'd probably lean him. But that was not the case. And like I said, we have all this Taysom Hill stuff coming in, how they want to use him more. So Johnny Munt, if not Munt, I would go Conklin. CHB, 2 questions: Geno or Donald, and Aaron Jones or Mostert. I'm going to go Aaron Jones for the running back. I do like this matchup for him. I think we are potentially getting a little bit ahead of ourselves with the difference in draft position between Achane and Mostert, but I feel better about Aaron Jones' workload. I think a lot of people are quick to forget just how good he looked at the end of last season. I know they've been talking about wanting to keep Ty Chandler involved. I do think he is involved. I think if you have him and you went like a 0 RB approach, I think he's fine as like an RB2 flex option. But I do like Aaron Jones in this spot, so I'm going to go there. And then Geno Smith or Sam Darnold, I'm going to go Geno Smith. I think he is a really strong bounce back candidate here for fantasy purposes. Anime, been good. Glad to see you back here. Glad the season is finally starting. Is absolutely right. Week 1 is always so much fun. Good to see you back. Truth, let's go. Happy to be back. Happy to have you back. Super flex question. Have Dak in right now. Ford along with Johnson and for. Okay. No, if it's a super flex, I'm going to keep Dak in. You look at Ford, it's not like he has a great matchup going up against the Cowboys defense. Deontay, I think, is being slept on a little bit, but I can't in good consciousness tell you to start Deontay Johnson catching passes from Bryce Young over Dak. Dak's matchup is not great. Obviously, Cleveland was one of the best defenses we saw last year, but I can't sit Dak for any of those. Ronnie, good to see you in here. Okay. Bro, you pick McLaughlin, drop Musgrave. Your thoughts? Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I wouldn't be plugging McLaughlin into my starting lineup, but I mean, if you're able to drop Musgrave if it's for this week, if you're able to do that, I think Yahoo allows you to drop guys that you didn't play. I wouldn't want to be carrying 2 tight ends anyway. So if you're able to do that, I mean, there's potentially some running backs out there I'd rather have over McLaughlin, but I don't think it's bad. I think he could potentially come out and have like a decent PPR day, and then maybe you have some trade bait, or you can add him to somebody else to upgrade somewhere. But yeah, I don't mind that. And especially the thing is that I was worried about going back to Musgrave. Tucker Kraft got a lot of play in that game, and especially now with not knowing what's going to happen with Jordan Love, how many games he's potentially going to miss. Does he miss any? Regardless, the fact that Tucker Kraft was out there, they obviously have a crowded wide receiver room on top of that. So I personally wouldn't want to roster any Green Bay tight end. Pass for Braden, Yoshi, Gus, or Jacoby Myers in the flex, a full PPR league. I'm going to go Yoshi here in a full PPR. At worst, he's going to be the number 2 target. At best, he's potentially going to lead the Bengals in targets. Assuming that Chase doesn't have a full complement of snaps in his first game back. We have to remember that he had like 1.5 practices. So I can't imagine he's going to be out there for 90% plus of the snaps. So I am going to go Yoshi here. Pick 2 here for Ronnie. Brian Thomas, Wan'Dale Robinson, Shakir, and Mooney. Shakir for sure, locking him in, especially out of these options. And then I'm just going to take the swing and go with Brian Thomas in that matchup. I don't think he's going to see a ton of targets, but with his explosive ability, I do think he could get you there just in a couple of catches. DK, good to see you back. Doing well. Hope you are doing well. And now I'm realizing that there is not a question attached to. Oh, here we go. 10-team league have Allen, Wilson, Collins, McCaffrey, Connor, Kupp, Malik Neighbors, Zamir White. What do you think of my team? I mean, what do you not like here? I like this team. A lot. I'm not big on Zamir White this year just because I don't think he has the pass catching upside. But I mean, if you're rolling with McCaffrey and Connor, I think that's really solid. The only thing I would look at here is potentially move off of Zamir White, assuming he has a good game today against the Chargers. I do like him in terms of like a flex option in this matchup. I think he's going to tote the rock a ton. But in matchups where it's, where the Raiders are not favored, which there's going to be a ton this year, I just don't think the upside is there for Zamir White in games where they're not keeping it close or potentially favored. So that's something I would look at doing is, if he goes off, maybe use him, attach him to someone else, add him to somebody to be able to upgrade from there. But really like that team. Slasher, my flexing Tank Dell or Terry McLaurin in a full PPR. I'm going to go McLaurin here. I think he's safer if let's say you went up against Saquon or Lamar Jackson or Xavier Worthy something. If you need to swing for upside, I would go Tank Dell. But just in general here in a vacuum without knowing that type of situation, I am going with I'm going to go with McLaurin. He's going to be the clear number 1 here. Jaden Daniels is a solid passer, and the Bucs defense and their secondary is not something that I am worried about, especially with them losing a couple pieces this offseason. With Chase now playing Burrow or Stafford, I would still lean Stafford here. That Detroit secondary is not something I'm worried about. We have a much higher over-under here. I think it's 52 for that game. Let's see what that Bengals total was sitting at 40.5. I think that's going to be kind of like a slow, just gross game. And without knowing, I haven't seen anything yet. I'll see if I can pull up to find any type of report in terms of what the team is expecting from Ja'Marr Chase. Like I said, I can see here he's active, he's warming up. Trying to see if I can find anything. I'll keep looking to see if I can find anything in terms of what they're expecting from him. But like I said, with that matchup with the Rams and Lions, I think that one is going to be much more fantasy friendly than the Bengals and Pats. So I would lean Stafford here. It's not like we're starting Stafford over, Burrow does have a little bit of that running upside, but he's not going to go out. He's not someone who's going to go out there and get you 40 yards and a touchdown. So it's not like you're sitting Burrow in that type of situation. They're both pocket passers for the most part. Burrow obviously more mobile at this point of his career than Matt Stafford is, but I like the overall game environment for Stafford more so than Burrow. Fields or Jaden Daniels. I'm going to go Jaden Daniels there. Keenan Allen or George Pickens. I'm going to go Pickens. Puka and Waddle, my other two wide receivers. Solid wide receivers. HP, Chase Brown or Dowdle for running back in a PPR. I'm going to go, man. Man, that's tough. Because I think Dowdle sees more volume, but he has the worst matchup going up against that really good Cleveland defense on the road. Not sure how much Zeke is going to mix in a PPR. Give me Chase Brown. Like we were talking about earlier with not knowing what's going to happen with Chase, T. Higgins being out. I think we could see a decent amount of the rushing attack. And we have seen Chase Brown have the ability to he has 5 carries for 6 yards, but then he rips off, a long run or a screen or something like that. So I'm going to go Chase Brown just for week 1. Truth, other Superflex leagues are 2 wide receivers and 1 Superflex, Ayuk, Marv, Shakir, Godwin, White, JD. So we're locking in Jaden Daniels in this Superflex. And then for our 2 wide receivers, interesting. Rashawn Johnson out in case anybody cares about that. And for the 2 wide receivers, we're going to go. Oh boy. I'm going to go Ayuk and Marv for that one. It's a good problem to have. Olave or Garrett Wilson. I'm going to go Garrett Wilson. Sebastian Hubbard or Warren. I'm going to go Warren on that one. I just feel like, obviously Hubbard is going to see more volume than Warren is, but I just don't know what to expect from that matchup. I think Hubbard is going to be your safer option just because that backfield is his. And we have heard Dave Canales talk about how stubborn that he is going to be in terms of the run game. So if you want safety, I would go Hubbard. If you want a little bit more upside, then I would throw Warren in there because I feel like he has a better chance of just ripping one off. And then especially because now I'm seeing that's a PPR. I would lean Warren in that matchup. Ken, McLaughlin, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins in a PPR. Oh, Lord. I'm going to go Dobbins. Give me J.K. Dobbins. He's healthy. We know that they're going to be, they're going to try and run the ball. I think in a PPR, Dobbins has more value than Gus Edwards does. So I'm going to go Dobbins here. I think he sees more volume than McLaughlin. And then in a PPR, we're going Dobbins over Edwards. Garvey, good to see you rocking with us. Full PPR, 40-plus yard touchdown bonus, start 1. Brian Thomas, JSN, or Jerome Ford. I'm going to go JSN. I get throwing, BTJ in here with a 40-yard touchdown bonus. But I really like JSN in this matchup today. I think he's someone who could rip off a long touchdown as well, even though he was not used in that way whatsoever last year. He had some kind of an absurd amount of his targets and catches that were within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. He was basically a screen merchant last year, but I think that is going to change with the new OC. And then you're potentially looking at, Pat Surtain shadowing DK, which is going to leave JSN. And after Surtain, there's no one in that secondary you're worried about for the Broncos. So I'm going to go JSN here. I think he sees more volume than Brian Thomas does. So unless this is like some absurd bonus you're getting here, like a 10-point bonus for a 40-yard plus touchdown, I'm going to go JSN. Murdoch. Punted tight end, Jonnu, Hurst, Fant, Munt, or Colby Parkinson. Man. I'm going to go Noah Fant here. And the fact that you punted a tight end, you have these types of options available, that's you're probably in a better situation than most are. Murdoch. I'm going to go Fant here just because I trust that a little bit more. Munt would be my number 2, though. Savvy. Higgins rolled out, added him to IR, added Goff, and starting him over Burrow. Thoughts? Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like I said, especially in this matchup going up with the Rams and the Lions, I think we see a lot of I think we see a fantasy bonanza in this one. Goff's I'm going to see what Burrow's total is here for his passing prop. But I do know that Goff is sitting at like 270. We have Burrow at 245.5. Again, in this game, they are 8-point favorites. I think we just see a heavy dose of Zach Moss. I think we see Chase Brown mix in as well on that one. So I'm fine with it. I would go Goff over Burrow. Yeah, we're still going Shakir over Addison and Keenan Allen for sure. Yes. No, would you drop Justice Hill? I have Henry, Ray Davis, Ty Chandler for Khalil Herbert, Roshan healthy scratch. I don't think I'm dropping Justice Hill after how we saw that he was involved in that game on Thursday night. And I think that's something that we could see going forward because we know that Derrick Henry has never really been involved as a pass catcher. Justice Hill looked good at the tail end of last year as well. So I don't think I'm going to drop Justice Hill there. And I definitely don't want to drop Ty Chandler. He was someone I was talking about. Really like him this year. I just don't know how that situation is going to well, and I guess there has to be somebody in your it's probably going to be hard to pull off a trade right now to be able to do that. Man. I still think I would keep it as is. Like, do you have like a second tight end or a second defense kicker quarterback, something like could you drop a second at a onesie position to be able to pick up Herbert? Because I do think Herbert could be a sneaky pickup here. And then to be able to potentially use him as trade bait if something happens. And obviously I think this must be the league where you're talking about not having a ton of depth behind that. So let me know if there's something else we could do, because I do think that is a sneaky pickup. What are we thinking about Rico? I think he's going to be the one to lead the backfield in terms of touches. I don't love this matchup for week 1. But I think, if you don't have any other better options, I think he's fine as like an RB2 flex, but I just would not be expecting a ton out of him today. But I think better days are ahead for him. Raylan, good to see you rocking with us. Couldn't be better on the first football Sunday of the year. Already told my wife, I said, hey, when this is done, going downstairs, pulling up the laptop, got the Sunday ticket for 3 weeks thanks to FanDuel. That's going on the screen, pulling another game or two up on the laptop, and we aren't moving until tomorrow morning. So it's fantastic. CHP, last question. Almost said Midley. Calvin Ridley or Mostert in the flex, full PPR. I'm going to go Mostert in this one. Like I said earlier, I think people are kind of jumping the gun in terms of like just anointing Achane like the dude, as if Mostert's not going to have a role in this offense. I like this game environment better. Like I said, the Bears secondary could potentially be one of the best if they get all those pieces together. Levis, I just don't know what to expect from him. I think they are going to pass a ton, which obviously helps Ridley here. D-Hop banged up, but he's going to be he's active. Callahan will move Ridley around, so I think that helps. But I think Mostert has the higher touchdown upside. Question here from Raylan: should I flex Amari Cooper or Mostert in my half PPR league? I'm going to go Cooper in this one. Don't love the matchup, but we saw Cooper basically be the only viable option when Watson was healthy last year. So I think he sees a healthy target share. I know I just talked about not wanting to trust Levis in a similar one, but we have the track record here with Cooper and Watson. So that's where I'm going to lean on this one. Another Cooper question. This one from Steven: James Conner or Amari Cooper? Flex PPR. I'm going to go James Conner here. I really like this matchup for him. Not worried about Trey Benson or Amari DiMercado, anyone behind him. I don't think the Cardinals get blown out in this one. I think they're able to keep it close. So I think he's a little bit safer in terms of the amount of touches he's going to see and the matchup. I'm not worried about the Bills matchup. Should I flex Neighbors or Sutton? I'm going to go Neighbors on this one. If you have Malik Neighbors this year, don't watch the games. Just don't watch them because it's never going to look good. But you're going to look up at the end of the week or at the end of the at the end of the game, and he's going to have his 10 targets. He's going to have 6 catches for 80 something yards, and you're going to feel good about it. And obviously, if he falls in the end zone, it's going to be even better. But I am going to go Neighbors here in this one. 17-mile-per-hour wind in Buffalo. Should I drop Bass or for a different kicker? No, I would look to see if that is sustained winds or if that's just gusts. If it's gusts, I'm not going to worry about it. And Buffalo should be able to put up enough points. I think it's once we get over like 25 plus, but let me pull up the old Roto Grinders weather reports here and see what it says. Just give me 1 second. This likely ends up the windiest spot of the week. Model showing sustained winds reaching 15 to 20 and gusts around 25. Not devastating, but it could impact some throws and kicks. Well, there you go. So if you want to play it safe, find a different kicker. Be growing stuff. Chicago or Falcons D? Ooh. Really like, is Seattle available? If Seattle's available, I would play Seattle over both of these. If not, I would lean Chicago just because Fields is in there. I don't know how much the Steelers throw. So I would lean Chicago. Best streaming defense, Seattle is my pick this week. Sutton, Palmer, Deontay, Jameson, PPR. If you need to swing for the fences, I'm going to go Jameson Williams. If you need... Actually, out of that group, just give me Jameson anyway. Been talking a lot about that game environment. Like I said, 52-point total. They've been talking about Jameson Williams as a guy who is really taking that step forward. I don't think that Dan Campbell is going to be the type of coach to just blow smoke up our ass or anyone else's ass if he's not actually playing well. So I think they get him involved on, those jet sweeps, those little dump offs, and I think we see some shots taken with him as well. In this group where it's just like kind of gross and I'm not really seeing like a high ceiling for any of them, just let's just shoot, let's just swing, and we're gonna go Jameson Williams there. Although I do think Deontay is sneaky. Palmer, we already talked a little bit about, and Sutton as well. But I just don't see a very high ceiling with any of them. So I'm just gonna swing. Bruce, appreciate the super chat, fella. Flex position, full PPR number 2, receiver for Bengals or Brian Thomas. I'm going to go Yoshi Boss here in a full PPR. I think he's been the starting slot wide receiver. He's been their number 3, named that since the beginning of camp, basically. So obviously he's been running with the ones, and with Chase potentially limited, no T. Higgins. I'm going to go Yoshi in this one. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much, Bruce. How do we feel about Waddle this year as number 2? And should I look to move him as OBJ gets back? I think Vegas has them in top 5 highest scoring this offense this year. No, OBJ does nothing to worry me about Waddle. I actually think that is going to be a plus for Waddle. I can't remember where I heard this. I'm not trying to take this what I'm about to say is like my own analysis. But someone was saying that last year, because they didn't have someone to just like stick out at the X and do X receiver stuff, Waddle wasn't used in motion as much. So if OBJ gets back, I think you just throw him in that X spot and you start using Waddle more motion along with Tyreek. So I personally wouldn't look to move him, but again, it always depends on price, right? Like if Waddle blows up and you can use Waddle to get to somebody who, maybe starts the year off slow, you can go ahead and look to do that, but I wouldn't look to move Waddle just because of Odell coming back. I think Odell's washed. He's going to have a couple targets a game, but that's it. But I think that's going to free up Waddle to be able to do more of those motion things to get him moving and get him open the same way they use Tyreek. Truth, got an open bench spot. Who are you picking up to stash? Chase Brown, Gus Edwards, Dobbins, Coleman, Dowdle, Rogers, Palmer, McConkey, Addison, Patty Fry. Kincaid is my starter. Nope, we're not picking up a second tight end. You're going to roll with Kincaid. That passing offense and Arthur Smith just scare me. I was loving Patty Fry earlier in the offseason, got him in a ton of best balls just because of how late he was going. And then we saw in the preseason Arthur Smith doing Arthur Smith shit. So I don't want to trust that. Kincaid, you likely drafted him in the 5th. So he's who you're rolling with. I'm not going to pick up and hold an extra tight end. So out of that group, not going to pick up an extra quarterback either. I'm going to go Chase Brown there just because I do think he's interesting. I think Zach Moss is going to be more of the grinder. I think it kind of depends if you're looking at these guys as if we're just talking like a pure stash, I think Gus Edwards is interesting, just assuming that J.K. Dobbins can't make it through another healthy season. But for right now, I'm gonna go Chase Brown. Ridley, Sutton, or Tank Dell. I'm gonna go Tank Dell on this one. I like the upside. Like the upside more versus Ridley or Sutton. I think Sutton is probably the safest if you just need like a floor option, but I'm going to go Tank Dell on that one. Raylan, since Love will be out for about a month or a little bit longer, should I keep Jaden Reed or look to move him for someone? Again, this always depends on the price, right? So I think you could, throw Jaden Reed on your trade bait and see what kind of offers you get. But I think because of Love being out, you're probably not going to be able to capitalize on the type of game he just had. So, and then on the flip side of that, I think we see Jaden Reed become the most consistent receiver going forward while Love is out, just because he's the one that fits the mold with what they do, kind of using him in like that Debo type of way, a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage in terms of where he's going to get targeted. So I think that's going to help out Malik Willis more so than trying to chuck the ball downfield to Dobbs or the other receivers they have. So you're probably not going to be able to capitalize on the day he had if Love is out. But obviously, it never hurts to put him on the block and to see what kind of return you can get. Sutton or Godwin at the flex in a PPR. I'm going to go Godwin over Sutton there. Seahawks, Bengals, Falcons defense for streaming this week. I'm going to go Seahawks. Would Ayuk being on a limited snap count be any reason to play Njigba or Hopkins? I don't think so. I was talking. I really like JSN this week. Hopkins definitely not for me anyway. But Shanahan's going to be able to do enough to move Ayuk around to have him, especially if McCaffrey's banged up too. There's no way, if they have any doubt or worry about that whatsoever, that they go out and just give CMC his normal workload, especially week one, especially going up against that Jets defense. So I would still lean Ayuk here over Njigba or Hopkins. But if you're worried about it, Ethan, I would go Njigba would be the guy. Chris Godwin or Tank Dell in the flex. I would lean Godwin here unless you need to swing for the fences, and I would go Tank Dell. I think with Godwin being in the slot, that's going to help him out a lot this year. Not worried about that Washington defense at all. I don't know what to expect between Dell, Collins, and Steph Diggs. So I'm just going to lean safety there, and I'm going to go Godwin. But if you need to swing for the fences, Tank Dell's not a bad option. Drop my kicker for now. If Herbert does nothing, I'll drop him for a kicker. The only other players on my bench are Sutton, BTJ, J Hill. I would drop Zeke. I think he's dust. I think if you're starting Zeke, you're hoping for him to fall into the end zone. I think that's going to end up being his role. Someone's, I can't remember who. Someone asked about Dowdle. Maybe it was Anime. Asked about Dowdle earlier and what we're expecting. I think he's going to be between the 20 guys. I think he's going to see most of the passing work. And then Zeke is just going to be the grinder and the goal line back. So unless you're counting on Zeke to fall into the end zone twice, I just don't see a great ceiling in his range of outcomes for Zeke. I think it's a much better chance. Much better chance that like Herbert goes out there and has a double-digit fantasy game today than Zeke does. So I would drop Zeke and pick up Herbert. Well, I mean, I guess you already picked up Herbert anyway, so it doesn't matter. But Zeke would be the guy that I would drop. Brown or Yoshi in a PPR. We're going to go Yoshi on that. Booty. Best name on YouTube. Booty Warrior, no questions. Figured I'd drop it on this long ass Starbucks line before Red Zone. Good luck to you, Booty. Booty, if you're still rocking with us, sorry, I'm just trying to scroll through the bottom of the chat. Booty, I want to know what your Starbucks order is. Want to know what you're sitting in this long line for. Let me I want to know what you get when you go to Starbs. Joe, Murray or Stafford? I'm going to go Kyler Murray there. Like his spot, obviously has the rushing upside. And like I said earlier, I think the Cardinals keep this one close. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see what a healthy Kyler Murray looks like with Marv, with Trey McBride in this game. And that Bills defense, I'm just not worried about whatsoever. Bears kicker or Lions kicker to replace Bass? I'm going to go Lions kicker. Give me the indoors. Give me the give me that high total over the Bears. Chase or Neighbors? Man. Pay attention and see if we get any indication that Chase is going to be like I said, 85 plus 90% of the snaps, I'm going to go Chase. If not, I think Neighbors is more than a fine option to put him in over Chase just for week one to see what happens and get him up to speed. Like I said, in this game, we have a 40.5 point total. The Bengals are 8 point favorites, so I think we see a bunch of running back involvement in that game. Bears, Falcons, Seahawks. Good to see you, Tyler. We are going Seahawks. Dell or Shakir, worried about Dell's volume. I think that's fair. I really like Shakir in this spot. I don't think he's a bad option. So although I am curious to see how the volume shakes out with Shakir in that offense as well. I think I would lean that in that matchup going up. Actually, I'm going to go Dell just because I think he has the higher ceiling. I don't see Shakir going out there and getting 8 targets in this game. I don't think that happens. I think the targets are going to be close. I think we have a good environment in that game as well. So I would go Dell in this one. Augusta, not a fancy question, but a CD Lamb anytime TD, a good player prop bet today. Browns defense was making me doubt choosing the bet. I mean, CD Lamb is never a bad option for an anytime touchdown bet. If you're looking for one, I don't know what the difference in the odds are, but I would lean Justin Jefferson over CD Lamb. I'm assuming that they are relatively close. Let me see here. Got this pulled up. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Lamb. Anytime TD, he is plus 125. Jefferson, what are we sitting at? Not Van Jefferson. Don't give a shit about that. It's a 115, and that's on DK. So if for some reason you're only looking at one, I would lean Justin Jefferson over CD Lamb. I think you are right in being a little bit hesitant about the matchup there, but I wouldn't. It's not. It just sucks this year with how much that they have brought down the anytime TD odds. Like they're just not. They're not as enticing as they were in years prior. But I like Jeff. I do have an anytime touchdown on Jefferson, so that's the way I would lean. Dolphins wide receiver he's going to play, so I wouldn't worry about it. I would unbench him and put Tyreek back in. Mike, pick 2: DJ, DK, or MHJ. Man, I know you asked this last night on the prop show. I said I would sit. I think I said I would set DJ. And I think that's still the way I lean. Marv has the best matchup out of this group. DK, I feel a little bit better about the OC moving him around. Like, I think we could see DK on some motion stuff to get him away from Pat. DJ is going to lead that team in targets, but I think that Tennessee defense is going to be good, and I don't know what to expect from Caleb Williams. I don't know where that even came from. Oh, DJ Moore. That's why. But that's tough, man. It would be between DJ and DK for me personally, just because I'm giving the tie break to the matchup that Marv has. But I lean DJ, but that's tough. Swift, Kirk, Godwin need one for the flex and a full PPR. I'm going to go Kirk on that one. I really like Christian Kirk this week. I think that game ends up being more of a shootout. That Dolphins secondary is nothing that I am worried about. So I would rank them Kirk, Godwin, and then Swift. I do think Godwin is potentially a little bit safer just because last year we saw the Jags run more 2 wide receiver sets, and when they did that, Kirk was not on the field for those. But this year, I can't, with the 2 new additions with Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis, I can't imagine that that's what they try and go out and do. Like I said, I really like Kirk. It's between him and Godwin for me. I lean Kirk, but I think Godwin is potentially a little safer. Dell, Yoshi, or Shakir, I'm going to go Yoshi on that one. I think he's a little bit safer. If you need to swing for upside, I'm going to go Dell. Joshua, Ayuk or Brian Thomas? I'm going to go Ayuk on that one. And last question of the day, our guy Ashton coming in, Deshaun or Rodgers in a 6-point passing TD? I'm going to go Rodgers on that one. Obviously, the matchup is a little worse for Rodgers than it is Watson, but the fact that Watson is still having some issues with that throwing shoulder kind of worries me a little bit. So I'm going to go Rodgers here. I think they get enough done between Brees and Garrett Wilson that he'll be able to have some more. That is going to wrap it up. You can go ahead and join the Discord that I never put the link to in here. Let me do that real quick. We will also be going live tonight at halftime for the first look at week 2. It'll be halftime of the Saturday night. Jeez Louise, trying to do too many things at once. Halftime of the Sunday night football game. There it is. Ashton's got it. Appreciate you, Ashton. You can jump in the Discord for any last minute start sit questions. Appreciate you all for rocking with us. Like I said, we will be live tonight for week 2 waivers at Sunday night football during halftime of that game. So make sure you are subscribed, hit that like button while you're here as well. And we will see you tonight. Good luck to everybody. Hopefully I do not nuke any of your matchups.